And we are recording. Lights, camera, action. I'm bored in the house and I'm in the house bored. Bored in the house. I'm just kidding, guys. What's happening? I hope you're all doing well, staying safe, staying indoors. I hope this is a crazy time, but things like this, I hope, make your day better, and you might be able to learn a few things today. But before we get into the gist of the topic, which is portrait photography, I know you guys are anxious about this because you guys have been bombarding me with messages about doing this topic. I just want to quickly thank today's video sponsor, Skillshare. Now, if you're not familiar with Skillshare, you're definitely in luck. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of inspiring classes for creatives and curious people. You have the opportunity to explore new skills, deepen existing passions, and really get lost in creativity. Many of their classes are designed for real life, meaning that you are learning really tangible information that's going to assist you in bettering in your profession. These lessons can help you stay inspired, express yourself, and introduce you to even a wider community. There's a great opportunity here for you to not only learn, but to be a lot more productive, especially during this time that we are all facing. This is a great opportunity for you to stay productive, and this is definitely something that I've been doing, especially given this whole COVID-19 situation. Because I'm at home constantly, I have a lot more opportunity to learn and obtain more information that's going to better assist me in my career. There are so many great photography and film classes like Self-Portraits by Tabitha Parks, Night Photography by Sean Dalton, or Thomas Dyer's Storytelling through Film series. The content's all curated specifically for learning, meaning that there are absolutely no ads. And they're always launching new premium classes so you can stay focused and follow wherever your creativity takes you. The best part is that it's less than $10 a month with an annual subscription. Yes, you heard me right, less than $10 a month. I recently began Luke Cordo's course on street photography called The Quiet Moments. This is a perfect example of the kind of material I like learning. He dives deep into the value of candid imagery. He talks about his beginnings, how he shoots, creating a photo series, approaching people, shooting posed portraits, and at the end of the course, he even takes you in an inside look on how he edits his images. I highly recommend quality content like this for everyone. And Skillshare is offering a 2-month premium subscription to the first 1,000 of my subscribers who click on the link in my description. Yes, you heard me right, the first 1,000. So definitely get down there and make sure you sign up to get those 2 free months of premium subscription. And like Skillshare always says, this is the best way for you to explore your creativity, so don't miss out. All right. Let's talk about some portrait photography. I know you guys are anxious about this part of the video. Now, I really had to sit back and think through this one. I wanted to make sure that I was giving you guys some solid information on the process that I take when it comes to portrait photography. And I thought back to a time when I did a photo shoot with a friend of mine who goes by the name of Gregory Vanderweel. I'm not too sure if you guys know Gregory. He's a European professional football player that moved to Toronto and played for Toronto FC for a bit. He and I were in discussion, really talking back and forth about concepts of what to shoot and stuff like that. And I thought, hey, you know what, let's do this cool portrait series together. And the process I took from start to end. Now, this is a 5-step process that I'm going to walk you guys through. So take notes. Step number 1, setting and location scouting. So I already have the person or the model that I'm going to be photographing. The first thing I'm going to think about now is the location. Where am I shooting? What is the context? What is the backdrop? And we decided on the downtown core of Toronto. Now, I'm not gonna just make Gregory, who has very limited time to spend with me, walk around the city until we find the right and appropriate spots to shoot. I have to do location scouting. Now, there's an easy method for location scouting. I've been doing this for several years now, where I go on Google Maps, I take that little emoji icon, I drop it, and I walk around and I scan the area and I try to find elements or spaces that I want to photograph or put my subject in front of. Now, I found this really cool pocket. I think it was like University in Adelaide and Richmond, if I'm not mistaken. But within 200 meters, I had 3 different spots available to me that I could take portraits. So once I've decided on the spots, virtually, I then go to these actual locations on my own and I make sure that they work well. And in doing so, I do that second scan, but I'm not wasting too much time kind of just meandering, right? The day comes when I'm shooting with Gregory and we already know exactly, we're shooting location 1, 2, 3, and that's it. Now, step number 2 is called approach and inspiration. The approach that you take for your images and the inspiration that allows you to get the concept is very important. I spend a lot of time doing research, really viewing content online, magazines, looking for editorial content, just really trying to, give myself a lot more information in order to be able to get inspired enough to go out and do something. Sometimes ideas will just kind of click in my head. For this one specifically, it was just a concept I came up with, just creating a frame around the image and not placing the frame around the borders of the image but within the photo. So taking a solid frame and moving it around an image to create some sort of focus point. And this approach, I tested it on different images just to see what it would look like. It not only creates its own kind of ambience, but it also allows you to realign your idea of where the image focus point is, because now I can move the subject matter. It doesn't have to be about the person's eyes. It can literally be about the backdrop. It doesn't have to be about the bridge. It could be about the water, so on and so forth. The other part of approach is doing a mood board that allows you to put together the general theme of your photo shoot. Because of how long and how many years I've been doing this for, I can kind of conceptualize the mood board in my mind. I don't need to go out and actually take paper clippings and cut them out and glue them down, even though that would probably be pretty cool to look at, down the road. But yeah, creating a mood board allows you to really have a better grasp of where you're going to go and shoot, and it gives you a lot more confidence entering the shoot itself. Now, as part of the approach, I also want to focus on architecture. So because we were already in the downtown center of the city, I thought about the context. How do I make him prominent within the context of the city? Well, I want to find, architectural elements that would give him that strength or complement, his look and his features. So I worked with a lot of dynamic architecture. I focused on metals and I focused on shapes and shadows and creating contrast within the image, again because I have to respect this frame concept that I came up with. Step number 3 is attire. Now, the attire is what the person that you're going to be taking portraits of is wearing. It's very important for you to make sure that you have communication with that person. Gregory and I spoke before we did the actual photo shoot about my general ideas, and I mentioned to him I wanted very 007 kind of feeling, but with a little bit more of a modern twist. Because Gregory is very fashion forward, I wanted to also bring and highlight some of his expertise in fashion. So we thought, hey, give a suit, but give me some layers and show me within the layers the dynamic kind of personality that you have. Step number 4, now you're on location and you're shooting. So what are you thinking about? It's respecting that very beginning where I came up with my approach. So I have a frame and I have a person and I have this backdrop. Now, how do I make them all work compositely? Well, I thought, okay, I want to create an interaction, a space where the frame can emphasize certain parts of the image or make you follow the lines of the frame into something else. So for example, this one picture where his hand was on the, I think it was reflecting mirror, I want people to kind of dive deeper into that feeling. So I created the frame border around his hand, and it makes it look like it's multiple images in one. And this is how you're actually creating a little bit of a more unique approach to your photography. And also while you're shooting, you're thinking about light, you're thinking about contrast. It was good to have a team of people around me. I had some people, help me with composition. I had someone just shoot B-roll of me. I mean, it's always good to have a team also as well available with you, depending on the shoot and depending, of course, on their availability. There's a lot of things I'm thinking about. I want to make sure that there's no externalities in the image. And what I mean by externalities is because we're in the middle of a city, there's so many things, pylons, signs, garbage, and you have to find ways to diffuse these things out of your photo. And the way by doing that is sometimes in the editing process, which is what I want to talk about next. Step number 5 is post-production. Your post-production process involves eliminating anything that is unnecessary. So garbage, signs, all the things I talked about before. And you do this very carefully because you've already taken the time and initiative to compose the images properly. You're not working too much more when it comes to the editing. Now, in these images particularly, I want to emphasize a lot of things. I want to emphasize the border in the frame. But in order to make the frame pop, I had to make the image tones a lot darker. and by creating that contrast. And I do this by having multiple sessions of editing. I first edit an entire series of images, and then I go back and I make rearrangements in the images again and re-edit. And I have actually multiple different styles of editing done by the time I decide on the final set. And this process teaches me how to edit things properly, but it also allows me to experiment with the editing. So I'm not just limiting myself, which happens a lot, where you just click one button, you apply, and you walk away. This is not the right way to approach portrait photography. Portrait photography is very unique to the person that you're taking pictures of and unique to the story that you want to tell. And in these set of images, I did want to create that sense of mystery. I wanted to create the ambience of a mysterious person who's professional, strong, but at the same time very fashion forward, and then add this abstract element to it as well. So there was a lot of things happening, and I have to respect those things when it comes to my editing process. Now, it doesn't just end at step 5. I mean, I can go on to step 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's also the sharing element, the storytelling element. There's a lot of parts that come with portrait photography, but essentially what's very important is having those prerequisite steps installed in your process that will allow you to tell a better story. So I want to focus on those, really, like the location, the person, the attire, the composition, the way that you're choosing to take the approach of the photography. These things really make a huge impact on the general storyline. And once you have these things first kind of really well established, then the storytelling process becomes a lot easier. And the storytelling process is all this, going back and remembering why you decide to do things or the approach that you take. It's already finalized because you've already thought about it. And so for me, in describing these images, is very easy because I already know the approach that I took, and that approach respects the storyline. Ultimately, I want you guys to focus on those first 5 preliminary steps, and work with them and make sure that you really get a good understanding of the approach that you take when it comes to portraits. The quicker you learn this process, the more easier it's going to be working with other people and actually taking your business in a more professional way. So that's about it for today's video. I hope that you guys did enjoy it. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment. I really want to get some of your feedback. It's very important for me so I can find new information to talk about and new videos to give you guys tutorial lessons on. And also, I just want to create some sort of dialogue. I know this is a crazy time for everyone, so it's very important to be able to communicate with you guys. And if you did have any questions regarding portrait photography specifically, leave them in the comments below. And as always, I'll see you guys very soon. Peace.